introduce to you the man of the hour, Tony.
Hello and welcome to At the Gates of Hell. I am Tony, your host, and I am on fire. En fuego. It's 105. Sitting in the shade, though. It's really the only reprieve that there is. It's a scorcher at Globe Life Park here in Arlington, Texas. Not Dallas, not Fort Worth, right in the middle. And I am outside of the home plate gate. I wanted to do a little bit more walking around the stadium, but like I said, it's 105. I've seen it from the drive-by. I think back when I was in 8th grade, so probably about 20 years ago now. And I just remember seeing it and seeing that it appeared massive from the freeway, and it always bummed me out that I never got to go inside of it. My grandparents used to live in Brownwood, Texas, and I'm finally here. Pretty excited, pretty stoked, especially because this will definitely go down as the hottest game that I have ever attended, and hopefully the hottest ball that I will have ever snagged. Right away, I will say the parking is less than ideal. Pretty much all the lots open at 4. It is about 2:30 right now, so I tried pulling into one. The guy said, hey, this is a season ticket holder one. Try going to a different one, but those don't open until 4. I was like, whatever. Went driving around, pulled into another one, was going to try to play dumb, but the guy just opened it, let me right on through without even asking any questions or anything. So I was like, all right. Just kind of drove, parked it somewhere, and apparently that was okay. Going back, the road trip, we'll work ourselves backwards in time. So that was the arrival. Then we will talk about the road trip, which was from Emporia, Kansas. So I think that was about an hour outside of Wichita. Didn't make it quite as far as what I wanted to last night, but at the same time, I got to sleep earlier than expected, so woke up a little bit earlier and still got here pretty much at the 2 o'clock hour, which I was trying to do anyways, so it all worked out. The drive wasn't too bad. It was about, I want to say, 6 hours or so, because I think I left at about 8, got here shortly after 2. Traffic was smooth, simple. A little bit of traffic in Oklahoma City, but kind of went right around that on a frontage road because there was some construction, which was a 13-minute delay, but I pretty much avoided that, so I felt pretty smart. Thank you, Google Maps. Today's episode is Let's recut that. I'm sorry, Google Maps. I can do better. Today's episode is brought to you by Google Maps. When you need to map out your road trip, use Google Maps, because if you don't already, what are you doing? So yeah, road trip. Feels good to be down here, but I am not really looking forward to the 14 hours going back home. Going to try to get another couple hours out of town at the end of the game. So hopefully this is another at least normal length game, just 3 hours, maybe a little bit under. I wouldn't mind that. And then going a little bit further back, last night made a maybe about 2-hour drive outside of Kansas City. Like I said, stopped in Emporia, and I think that was in the midnight hour somewhere. Definitely before 1, because I think I fell asleep at around 1. And before that, there was a little baseball game that I attended. Ended up getting one of those commemorative baseballs, actually 2 of them. One of them in BP, actually right before BP started, It was Rosell, I believe, Herrera. I think that was his last name. And he shorted me, but luckily, because it landed in an area that I couldn't go to, the usher, who was very kind to me, went over, walked through it to me, and then I looked at it, and it had the nice 50th logo right on there, and she was even kind of amazed. Otherwise, during BP, they do not use them, so somehow lucked into that one. Ended up getting 4 more regular balls during the BP portion, including one from my favorite current twin, hopefully stays a twin through the end of the year, Eduardo Escobar. Then ended up making friends with a police officer down by the Kansas City dugout, and showed him where I was sitting, because I just kind of mentioned that I do these road trips and knew that they were using a special ball, and he was like, yeah, I can hook you up. And a few innings went by, and he was no longer down there, and I was like, well, maybe he tried, maybe he didn't. It doesn't really matter. But then in the 5th inning, he came back out, and there was a nice little foul ball by Eddie Rosario that the bat boy got on our side and brought it over. Security guard, or the police officer, then got it from the bat boy, and he tossed it right to me. So that felt really good, especially because, like I said, it was commemorative, a gamer, and it was pristine. Well, at least the logo part was. So pretty stoked about that, and I almost got all of them. Almost. At least all of the places that I've gone to, I've been able to acquire. The Rays and Giants still have one that I don't have, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to get the Rays. Maybe the Giants if they bring them with, and I make that massive road trip, which would include a stop in Milwaukee. But if not, it's not the end of the world. I can take it. Still feels good to get at least one more commemorative that I can add to the collection, especially since, like I said, it's a gamer and looks really good. So that display case is filling up quite nicely. Kauffman Stadium, what can I say? I really liked it. I'm going to have to revisit my rankings. I'm not quite sure where I had it from before, but I don't know. It's what it lacks in style, it definitely makes up in layout and just friendliness of the staff and the ability to get in early, roam around. It's the upgrades that they've made definitely make it feel like it's not an older ballpark. It still has some of the design that the Arrowhead Stadium right across the street has, and that's those curly stairways getting up to the upper levels, which the concrete look doesn't look that great, but once you're inside, it's pretty decent. I'd say it's at least an average, if not just slightly above average park. Compared to Target Field, I mean, like I've discussed numerous times on here, the magic has definitely worn off, so I don't know if I'm just cynical at this point with Target Field, but it's not in a totally different class from Target Field. Even if it is a different class in age, I think overall the enjoyability is very similar. And I think that's enough of a Kauffman breakdown. I wish I had more people here with me. Unfortunately, those folks that you heard in the last episode are at Kauffman again while I'm down here in Texas. Have I mentioned that it's hot? I really don't have much else to say. It's only about 10 minutes in, so I guess this can be a short episode. I'll probably do a post-game recap as I'm driving. That way it keeps me up, and also I can dump all that information before the next game that I go to, which I think is about a month from now. So it's going to be a kind of a drought here. Believe I broke 80 balls for the season so far. I think I'm at 85, I want to say. So this could get me close to 90 or so if I have at least an average day here, which would put me within striking distance of definitely getting that 100 and getting me close to 950 total. So there's only a few dozen left before I hit that 1,000 mark. I might have to go over it just because I haven't hit all the stadiums yet, but I definitely want to keep it low 1,000s because I think it's time. We're winding down. Still have a few more parks. We'll definitely go to parks as they open, but cutting back, and it feels good. Feels good to cross off another ballpark from my list here today, as well as doing a podcast from it. I was able to been to Kaufman a few times in the past, but hadn't done a podcast, so I think since I got that and even Colorado out of the way, I think I'm going to be able to do all 30 stadiums. Well, wish me luck. I'm going to keep sweating here, and if anything pops in my head, you'll hear me cut in when that happens. Woo! All right. Done with Globe Life Park. Crappy part was no batting practice. The temperature on my weather app on the iPhone for my location, which was Arlington, said 110 for a while, and that is a new high for me. I thought that 109 in Arizona was going to be the highest, but boy was I wrong. 2018 is the year of hot heat. And I believe first pitch, at least on the inside, or not the inside, but at the ballpark, was 108, which I don't think was quite a record, but it's definitely top 5, if not probably tied for second. What's really the difference between 1 or 2 degrees? Not much, other than a record. It's still the hottest game that I'll ever attend, especially because that probably won't happen in the future, especially in Arlington, because their next stadium is going to have a roof. Well, at least a retractable one. As you can tell, I'm going over some bumps. Okay, that was a little bit exaggerated, but still going over a bunch of bumps as I drive. So this part is not really at the gates, but it's at the wheel. I'm in random nowhere, Texas, just north of Denton, and I will be stopping in Ardmore, Oklahoma, less than an hour away. Thoughts about Globe Life Park is that it was very underwhelming. Not very, but it just didn't live up to the expectations that I had in my head. Does it deserve to be, abandoned or left by a Major League Baseball team? No. Is it one of the nicer parks in the MLB, though? No. I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more and just didn't really deliver. I wish I could pinpoint and put together a bullet point list, but I haven't done that yet, and it's 11:30 at night, and I've just been outside for at least 8 hours in temperatures ranging from high 90s up to 110, so please forgive me if I'm a little bit shot. It was a good day, though. So first ball that I've ever got when the temperature was over 100 degrees. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if that's really any type of, I know it's not a record, but it's a personal milestone. It's pretty cool. Not a lot of people can say that. Pro tip. If you are going to Kansas City or Arlington, you can get free parking. You just got to get there really early. So I think I talked about it a little bit in the earlier part of this episode, but since I got there shortly after 2 and went to a couple lots, finally one guy just let me in, and I was a little bit nervous, and I could see it from the home plate area from where I was sitting to get in to the game early. I could see my car, and I was worried that it was going to be towed or blocked or something, but no one seemed to care. Went in, a little bit nervous when I came out, went right to it. No tickets, no boot, no, obviously it was still there, so that was pretty cool. Same type of deal happened in Kansas City. If you get there early enough, no one really seems to care. I would suggest getting there probably between noon and maybe even 2. That probably is the safest bet for free-ish parking. Same thing there. I parked actually really close to the stadium, over I think by where the employees park or VIP or something, over on the third base side, out towards the outfield end, so right field, and really smooth sailing because it was really easy to get out, and it's pretty nice to be able to save at least $20 at Arlington and maybe $10 to $20 at Kaufman. So overall, a little bit of savings. So not only will you be first in line to get baseballs, but free parking is something. It's going to be a long road ahead of me. Still will have a little bit more than 12 hours of driving to do when I wake up tomorrow, but I'm starting to feel a little bit sleepy. Still safe to drive, but I can tell my eyes are a little bit dry, a little bit heavy. So if this speech seems rambling, that's also part of it. I'm probably going to have a pretty gnarly sunburn because I could feel it pretty much sizzling in the sun. I didn't wear any sunscreen this whole trip, which could be pretty dumb of me. Only time will tell. I'm running out of things to say, but I feel like I have a lot of things to say. I just don't know how to convey them. So I guess you get to hear me think out loud. Total of 11 balls this trip, so that brings me up to, I believe, an even 950, I think, or 955 or something. I don't know. I forgot. I should really memorize that, or at least put it together a little bit better in my head, but I don't know. Maybe that's a sign that it's becoming less and less important to me. Even though I am counting down to 1,000, I feel like maybe the round number of 1,000 is less of a countdown, and the bigger countdown is hitting all 30 stadiums. So, or really all 30 franchises. I still have 7 left to hit, so this was franchise number 23 that I've gotten a baseball at. Franchise number 26 that I've seen their stadium, so ended up seeing Fenway, City, and Yankee back in, I want to say 2009, when I went out to New York and took a nice train up to Boston. Wasn't catching balls at a regular pace back then. I think I already had one. That was back in April of that year, but didn't really catch on. I think I tried a little bit when I was in City, and then just a little bit more when I was at Fenway, but it was a really half-hearted attempt. I don't even think I really brought my glove. It was one of those deals where I just stood in the outfield in one spot and wasn't really vocal. Didn't really try, but hoped that one found me. Spoilers, they didn't. So I still have those left on the list to hit up. Next trip, if all goes right, will be going down to Miami, then all the way up to Cleveland, over to Toronto, back to Detroit, and then finishing off in Milwaukee. I wouldn't really have to hit Milwaukee, but there is a part of me that wants to see if the Giants bring with some commemorative baseballs, because that is who they would play. It'll be a Saturday game, so it's probably going to be pretty packed, especially because the Brewers are still in it. But otherwise, not many games left for me. So besides those 4 that are, I don't know, it's somewhere between penciled in and written in pen. I think I only have 3 other games, and those are home games. August 23rd, 25th, which is Ball Hog Fest in Minneapolis. Get on it. And then the last game of the year at Target Field, which is September 30th. So that feels weird. Not really. I think I've gone to less than 10 home games. And the majority of my baseball this year will be on the road. Oh, I hit up 7-Eleven. Did that again. So 7-Eleven, I believe, was started in Texas. So went to one there and got a rather interesting new Slurpee flavor, and that was the Crunch Berry Slurpee. It starts off kind of tasting like a regular Slurpee would, very sugary, almost kind of like a blue Slurpee or something, and then it finishes with some nice Crunch Berry type of taste. It's a unique kind of experience. I don't know that I would classify it as a breakfast Slurpee, but I guess that's the closest that you have. What else? I really didn't hit many. I think I only hit the one vegan restaurant in Kansas City that was actually extremely good. Pirate's Bones, which is more of a coffee shop, but they also serve some sandwiches and stuff, so I would definitely recommend that, no matter if you're vegan or not. The Mexican torta was very, very, very good. They also had really good lemonade. The one that I got was a cucumber mint lemonade, and that was, like I said, incredibly delicious. It had thinly sliced cucumbers in it as well, and I ate some of those as I was drinking it. They're kind of fully sliced, so they kind of look like a really super thin pickle, but obviously not pickled, just regular cucumber. So it was kind of nice scooping those out and having some lemonade cucumber stuff. Didn't even hit up any vinyl or record stores. There's a part of me that wants to do it when I go through Oklahoma City. I probably won't, but never say never. I guess if it works out just right and I can stop in really quick, maybe I will. Just really depends on what type of traffic that I'm seeing on the Google Maps. The Goog Map? I don't know. But I think that's all for right now. I will end this now because it has gone far too long and you probably just want me to end it. But maybe I could just stretch out another minute saying absolutely nothing, but still saying words. Peter Pan, Ford, Mexican cheese, buffalo, and for some reason the word, I don't even think it's a word, but the sound Buto is coming to mind. B-U-T-O, I don't know what that is. If it's something offensive, I apologize, but I honestly don't know what it means. It just sounded interesting. I'm in Gainesville now. Gainesville, Texas. Coming up close on the border, I guess. Alright. Good night. Sleep tight. And remember, I care about you. Bye.